Oh, hey there. We're busy moving the weapons test facilities and training video factories to the Urals right now. So high-effort content is premium at the moment. But we can improvise something in the interim. If you, like many, you bought this game on special and decided it was bad, it was too janky, too hard, you're mistaken. This isn't a game, it's a simulation. Your smooth, soft gamer's potato brain has been irradiated for 20 years by AAA slop. You forgot how to play technical games like you did back in the day, with your mom's bird shitting on the keyboard while you played F-22 Lightning 2, or Apache in 95. The reason your brain hurts when you play this game is you've not had to use it for so long. You're like Neo in the Matrix, and you're freaking out right now, scaring everyone in the Reddit. But instead of understanding what is happening to you, you're blaming everyone else. So today I'm going to show you how to help yourself and how to create an in-demand feature in Ostfront, and hopefully you can help with the war effort. So sign Haster's contract and take the hand, and let's break your base game together. The first thing to do is to find your call to arms, Gates of Hell, root directory. You'll normally find that in your Steam Apps common directory. Oh, don't worry about those. That's for another mod I'm working on. You don't need those. Once located, open the mods directory. This is a Steam agnostic directory, meaning it's disconnected from the Steam workshop where you usually download your mods. Here you'll make a new mod folder for your new mod called My First Mod. Once loaded, create these directories on screen now in this mod folder. These directories and their contents will be loaded last after the core engine has loaded its versions of these directories. You putting files here will override the engine's base version of the files. The next thing you're going to do is to open your existing game logic pack file. Not puck. Unlike a puck, the pack file can be opened and treated like a zip file. This file can be explored with 7-zip or any good zip software. You'll find this file in your resources folder of your base game directory, which can be seen here. Inside this pack file is one file you'll want to commandeer, namely the cannon.inc file. You're going to extract this file to your interaction entity directory seen here. Once you've extracted it, open it with the text editor. Search for the cannon begin tag, and inside this block, find the on-spawn tag. Here we add the RK_enable tag. This tells the game engine that the base of the placement can't rotate or turn. Next we add our custom state block, which we'll call mgun_lock_toggle. This is a listener of sorts with a signal called mgun_lock_toggle, which we'll fire from another location later on. When the engine picks up this signal, it'll execute the functions inside the block it's wrapping. The steps within the conditions below are as follows. If the entity has been tagged as mgun rotation locked, we will remove the tag. We will enable the base bone rotation of the placement, allowing free movement, and will generate visible text in game that the unit has been unlocked in green text. Else, if the unit is unlocked, we will tag the placement as mgun rotation locked, and we will lock the base of the placement. We will then generate visible text in-game that the unit has been locked in red text. The next step is quite lengthy, and you're welcome to simply copy the text on screen as you see fit without understanding what you're doing. We'll add defensive constraints throughout any remaining relevant events for the object. Do they work? I have no idea, but to avoid the toggle from becoming out of sync, we enforce the tag wherever we can, including on the operation and move signals of the unit. Lastly, we release the lock when we move the placement or turn on the placement. This is to do with any placement that may have the vehicle property inherited. I've not encountered any of these issues, but it's more for insurance. The good news is that the engine discards any irrelevant or idiosyncratic events if they are in conflict or in contradiction or don't make sense. Next, we make changes to the machine gun placement class. This time we initially disable the placement by putting the RK enable directive on the spawn to 0. which disables the rotation, which is unlike the cannon we worked on earlier. After which there is a small delay and we immediately unlock the base. Why do we do this? All placements have a vision cone which can be painted on the ground, but that cone is only activated once deep in the engine on initialization, and if the basis is disabled on spawn, we deliberately disable the machine gun to click off this cone mechanism and then re-enable it immediately to initialize the vanilla free base movement behavior. Why don't we do this with the cannons, you might ask? Because unlike machine gun placements, cannons exhibit buggy behavior. If we do the same thing, we get the cone but the cannon won't move, which I'm not able to resolve. All this means is that machine guns will have the aiming cone initialized on spawn while the cannons will not, but both can be locked. If you don't care about free movement for your cannons, add the delay to the cannon to get the vision cone. Next we'll add state blocks similar to what we saw for the cannon entity. Now we add a new file for the button text called main.part, which can be placed in the localization directory depicted on the screen. The text on the screen can be found in the comments section of this video. Now we add a keybind for the base lock mechanism. Because we cannot inject new keys into the game, and keys are locked up in the untouchable part of the engine, we hijack the AP grenade key, namely F1, to switch the lock on and off. We create a file called mgunlocktoggle.set inside the directory on screen and add the following block. This too can be found in the comments. Are you paying attention, comrade? A man died smuggling this information out of North Korea. Next we're going to add the buttons. Open the right attack set file you extracted earlier in the resource set panel control directory. In the unlikely event you play this game with the mouse only, we create the menu icons in the special attack menu. We hijack blank cell at coordinate 2.2 or row 3 column 3 and bind our new machine gun lock toggle signal to this position. Condition cannon implies this button ought to be available only to entities that inherit the global cannon object class. Lastly, we're going to add the artwork for the button. The file is a TGA image file that is 32 by 32 pixels in dimensionality. You can screenshot that image here and create your own TGA file, or you can use your own images, but the files that must exist are mgun_lock_toggle_0, 1, 2, and 3.tga. The engine is touchy about the TGA file name matching the game's function, so make sure the names are the same as the functions suffixed with 0, 1, 2, and 3. We don't care about the icon being visibly different between states, so they'll all look the same and essentially can be copy and pasted. Lastly, we're going to copy and paste the Mod.info file from the template directory in the root of the mods folder. We don't really care about the readme.txt file, but we care about the Mod.info text file depicted on the screen here. Fill in any information, but make sure the name is as shown on screen and set the min and max version to any, so the game doesn't freak out about the game's version when evaluating the mod. Now we can enable the mod in the mod screen. So what does this mod do? Well, it locks the base chassis on machine guns, cannons and artillery as well as mortars, but allows the unit to continue to rotate on its chassis. So for example, the MG42 has a narrow rotational axis on its chassis. That will remain in place, but the base won't be able to turn. Why would anyone want to do that? Well, if you've ever had your cannons or machine guns facing the wall because the AI is on the other side, you'll know what this is all about. It prevents the AI from indulging its derpy behavior when you're setting up an ambush. This is useful if you're trying to set up focused fire coverage like a machine gun aimed at a specific point close to the front line. This will prevent the gun from aiming aimlessly at the wall. For example, here is a before scenario before the mod is engaged. And here is the after scenario once the machine gun is locked in place. Did you ever want to LARP as a Russian ambush artillery team in 1942? Here's the before scenario. And here's the after scenario once the guns are locked. The only issue I found with this mod is that the ampulomet launcher remains locked indefinitely. So unless you have a deep ampulomet tactics in your Hobo Gear Soviet playthrough, it shouldn't be an issue. If you're a lazy like myself, feel free to copy the file zipped up from the link in the description below and place it in your Steam Call to Arms Gates of Hell mods directory. So what else can be modded? Let's first look at the lay of the land. This is a loose approximation of the Call to Arms game engine. Tucked deep inside the impenetrable C++ core, some core functions are out of bounds, buried deep in a concrete sarcophagus, and this is anecdotal. These include pathfinding, functions like quick load and quick save, rest in peace single player game, keybinds, amongst many other things. But everything else is up for grabs. Pretty much anything aesthetic, audio, or property-wise, including damage and range, those are all within reach. That's depicted here. We'll call this the fun zone. This is where the game Ostfront that you and I know lives. I hope you found this video informative and useful. Nikolai and Maxime are currently in Stalingrad. I'll be getting back to them soon enough. So hopefully this mod alleviates some of the frustration you might have with the base game, particularly when it comes to setting up ambushes. So until next time, cheers.